My name is Rafael Correa. I am the president and CFO of Blue Water Hospitality and Development. And so I've been here now 13 years and very proud of what we've built here. We specialize in the outdoor hospitality market. So think RV resorts, campgrounds, glamping, that world. We manage over 60 properties across the country from Washington State to the Florida Keys to Maine and pretty much everywhere in between. We are headquartered in Ocean City, Maryland.
Awesome. All right. So for people who don't know your brand, tell us what Blue Water is.
Absolutely. So Blue Water really started out as kind of like a dream, a little bit of a reimagining of what a outdoor hospitality asset could be. It's a father and a son that started the company, Todd and Jack Burbidge. And it was actually a pivot out of their original real estate development strategy, which was really focused on subdivision, shopping centers, kind of hyper localized, real estate developers in the market that they're in here in Ocean City. And they bought basically a beat down trailer park that just happened to be on the bayfront right outside of Ocean City, Maryland. And it was 2008, and so the housing crisis was in full bloom, and so the idea of building another subdivision was kind of the last option on the table. And so it was already kind of permitted as an existing RV park, and so we ended up scraping it from the ground, cleared everything out of there, built all new infrastructure. And really, what Jack and Todd did, they weren't active RVers themselves, but they decided to build something that they would like to vacation at themselves. And they were big fans of the Bahamas and the tropics, and that's where they like to vacation as a family. So we really built the first like Bohemian themed RV resort called Castaways, and right here in Ocean City, Maryland. And so we did some really unique stuff. All the colorways were not your traditional kind of browns and greens of camping. We actually did everything in the really cool Bohemian pastels of yellows and teals and corals and really beautiful colors. And anybody who knows anything about Maryland is palm trees aren't native here. So we would actually import, $25,000, $30,000 worth of palm trees every year just to give it the vibe, just to give it the, so you felt like you were in the tropics here in Ocean City. And so really had no idea what we were doing, other than we wanted to build something that we would like to hang out at ourselves. And so it took off like a rocket, and the rest is history.
Oh, we'll have to throw up some pictures to show the viewers that property. That sounds amazing because yes, palm trees in Maryland are probably a little rare.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad it started with a dream and somewhere where they ultimately wanted to be. It sounds like that's the center of the mission is just providing really quality amenities and properties. And I can't wait for you to tell us more.
Yeah, and I think it's about, surprising people and giving them more than they would have expected from an RV resort campground style property. And I think that's kind of how we made our bones, how our customers know us, and how we've really separated ourselves from the pack as this outdoor hospitality industry really has bloomed in the last few years.
Definitely. So tell us how healthcare professionals kind of fall into the mix. How are they important to your brand? And is there really a moment that inspired, healthcare professionals being part of your audience? Tell us more about that.
Absolutely. So, long story short, I started college as a pre-med major. So
Oh,
I was almost going to be a healthcare professional myself. Did not have the wherewithal to finish biochem. So that was the weeding out for me that shifted me into what ended up being my ultimate degree in accounting. Big,
okay.
right?
180, yeah.
Yeah, I've always been, a big, very passionate about the healthcare industry and really appreciate, the sacrifice, right? It's a career, it's a job, but it's a job that's in service of others, and really requires a certain degree of compassion and empathy to really execute on. And so I admire what they do. My brother is actually in medical device sales. He lives and breathes it. I love hearing his tales from the OR that he loves to share with me every once in a while. And so I think that I have a tremendous respect for the profession, because it's something that you're not just doing for yourself. And I think that's something that we appreciate about it. And then ultimately the opportunity now to really blend what we do and give those folks a venue to call home or to vacation at, really is a great partnership at the end of the day, because what we create here at Blue Water are these really unique memorable destinations, safe, reliable, things that you can count on, and things that will surprise you, right? And I think that's one of the big things that's kind of made us unique and made us different as an organization. So while we went after this workplace of business, this type of business, really to kind of satisfy the primary customer is really kind of vacationers, right? People that are going to try and spend time with their family. They're going to try and disconnect, get away. They're going to save all their time and their pennies, and they want to go out and do something fun. We really wanted to build a special place for them to build those core memories, right? I like to think we're in the core memory business. Like, we think back to our childhoods and the things that are the most memorable. It was those trips, those vacations, those opportunities to spend time with family and extended family and make new friends, right? And so we really kind of jumped headfirst into making that happen. Now, the how that overlaps and blends with, the travel and healthcare professional world is that, it's a tremendous outlet for us when these properties are only busy certain times of the year, right? Our core business busy season is when the kids are out of school, right? I mean, that's the time that's practical. But we've built these tremendous facilities with amazing amenities and accommodations for folks that can be used other times of the year. And so we're always actively looking for alternative markets that we can connect with, whether it be retirees or full-time RVers. And so it just made logical sense that we would connect the dots into this growing and burgeoning travel healthcare professional to really fill in that time that, it's not so family focused or family centric, because everything we have to offer speaks to them just as much as it speaks to, that family of five that's coming in for their summer vacation.
Yeah, definitely. You hit the nail on the head. Really, some of the biggest challenges for traveling healthcare professionals is really finding safe and reliable and, solid amenities like you mentioned. So, tell us how your properties make travel easy. I know you have quite a number of properties across the United States. Tell us about a few of them and really, how does it make it easy for a travel healthcare professional just to come, depending on the type of travel situation that they have?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it all starts, in today's modern age is you got to be digital, right? And I think that's one of the things that we really pioneered in this outdoor hospitality space. It wasn't unusual, and it's still not unusual, quite frankly, in the RV world and campground world, where you have to submit a form, like a request for a reservation, or you have to call in. And I think that we worked very diligently with a lot of the property management system partners to really kind of bring that digital booking experience as close and as seamless to what you experience in the hotel world today. It's very easy to kind of find and book a hotel. It's even become very easy to find and book a vacation home, thanks to Airbnb and the VRBOs of the world. We were one of the pioneers that really pushed that forward for the outdoor hospitality industry. And so when you're looking for a place, having great photography, great content on the website, great videos on YouTube, and putting all that together so you know what you're getting, which is sometimes can be a grab bag, depending on the property. And we make sure that our digital presence is a seamless, frictionless process where you find the information that you need for the destination that you're trying to go to and that you can book with confidence, right? And I think that's kind of really step one at the end of the day for us.
Yeah,
Step
definitely.
two is really executing on that stay, right? And we do that primarily through kind of building out what we think is the best product on the marketplace, whether that comes down to the welcome center, the convenience store that we have, the camp store that we have there with all the necessities that you might need in a pinch, with our bathhouses, right, and making sure that they're clean, comfortable, accessible for everybody that wants to use them. And then last but not least is really the amenity core, right? Like the site itself, does it fit my RV? Do I have a patio? Do I have the hookups that I need? 50 amp electric, water, sewer, all the things that really kind of make that site home, right? For that time that you're there. We make sure all that is in place. And then last but very not least is the amenity core, and staff, right? Those two things are really like the icing on the cake, is the way I like to describe it, because the amenities, whether it's pools, grilling areas, water slide facilities, pickleball courts, playgrounds, all the things that you would imagine. And depending on the site, we kind of really kind of customize that to the location. We build that out, and then what really kind of breathes life into all that is just this incredible staff that you'll find at every single property that not only is really passionate about the property and like make sure the guests have a great experience. They're typically folks that are very local to that area and passionate about the destination that you're traveling to. And they're like just some of the best tour guides that you can possibly get when you're trying to get to know a new place, and you're a stranger in a foreign land. They can really help bridge that gap for you. And so really proud of our team here at Blue Water, and how we do that and make people feel really comfortable and feel at home real quick.
That's awesome. Yes, travel healthcare professionals are, I think, to use your term, strangers wandering in foreign lands. Often they change contracts 13 plus weeks, multiple times a year. So tell us about the variety of properties that you have. So we might have travel or even staff healthcare workers that are looking for different types of properties. Kind of tell us about your spectrum of properties that you guys offer, because you guys have quite a few offerings, and we'd love to hear more about that.
Absolutely, yeah. So in the world of outdoor hospitality, there is a tremendous spectrum of products, right? You have everything from a long more cater something that caters more to long-term stays, kind of a housing alternative, typically more in urban centers, places where housing is at a premium, or affordability or availability are big issues. And so we find that we have one brand in particular that we manage. The portfolio is a Jetstream, and we're located in the general Houston market. I have a location in Austin and another one in Brownsville, Texas. But that particular brand really kind of caters to that type of customer. Their amenities are not, it's not water slides and gigantic amenities like a water park per se, but they do have great pools. They have great grilling areas, great fire pits. The sites are extremely comfortable, paved, all the connections that you want, and you're typically going to be minutes from where you want to be at one of those Jetstream properties, um, in that Houston market. And then we run the full gamut all the way to properties like Luray RV Resort and Campground in Luray, Virginia, which is a true kind of five-star RV resort experience. And so there we have water slide towers, gigantic resort pools, tiki bars, cabanas, pickleballs, and it sits right on the Luray River. So you actually can tube for 45 minutes from one end of the property to the other and never leave the
Well,
property on the Shenandoah River, right? And so it's just a really unique, special place that gives people an experience they couldn't otherwise get, um, all those things kind of in one place. And so we run that kind of entire gamut of experiences. And then within that kind of gamut, there's also a couple brands that we manage. So I mentioned the Jetstream brand. Another brand that we manage is called HTR. It stands for Hit the Road.
cool.
And they're a collection of really beautiful properties in prime markets. And then we also manage Jellystones, which is a fun, very family-oriented brand. They have, I think, over 60 locations across the country.
Wow.
We manage about six of those, and that's going to be pretty heavy amenity, activity, family based. And then finally, the KOA brand is another one that we manage on top of our own independent kind of standalone properties. And we're getting ready to kind of soon be launching a Blue Water independent brand, which will be kind of the thing that connects all those independent assets. But we're big fans of the KOA portfolio. KOA has three levels. There's a Journey, which is kind of the most simply amenitized kind of stopover between two destination points.
Mhm.
Holiday, which is more amenitized, and that can be for a stopover or a 3 to 4 week long stay. And then you have what's called a resort level property. And so really nice offerings within that. And I think the one thing that, while those are all unique and different in their own special way, the one thing that's very consistent that you can find is that it's very easy to book them all. It's very easy to look online and see what you're getting. So there's no surprises, right? And I think that's like, the uncertainty, if I put myself in the shoes of a traveling healthcare professional, I'm thinking like, what, there's so many variables, what can I control? And if
Right.
I can control where I'm living, where I call home, where I rest my head at night, I think that just takes one piece of the puzzle out of the equation that you have to worry about, and you can enjoy your life a little bit more.
Definitely. Oh, for sure. So tell us, if I had something like a Sprinter van, because it's very common for travel healthcare professionals to have sprinter vans or a full-on rig, or maybe I'm just starting my travel journey and like you said, I'm going to maybe more of a rural place and I need maybe a cabin style accommodations. Can you talk about the different types of accommodations and the different types of stays that would come along with it? So you're not just a one-stop cabins only or just camping like you mentioned. Can you speak to those different buckets depending on the different, toys or lack of toys that a healthcare professional might have?
No, it's a great point. And I think the one thing that's unique about Blue Water too is we service the entire gamut, right? And so we're the core of the business, and one that we are always mindful to be respectful of is the RV component, right? Whether you're in a sprinter van, you got a towable or a drivable, whatever it is that your flavor is, we can accommodate you. And typically we're going to have, depending on your price point too, kind of what do you want to spend, and choose your own adventure and kind of signing that up. And so one of the things that I'm a big believer in is accessibility, right? And so making sure that this style of travel remains accessible no matter what your budget is, right? You want to, spend, blow it off the top and just blow it out and have a tremendous time. We got that site for you, right? But if you want to, save your pennies and make sure that that money is going more for an experience that you want to have in that particular market, we have an accessible and affordable site that's available for you and that can accommodate your rig. And so that's super important. And if there's, I know not everybody knows the RV world, but having a site that's easy to get your rig in and out of is so important to these folks, right? It's like they don't want that to be a giant hassle. And so I think we do a great job of making sure that our properties are properly designed to make that parking and that whole experience of arriving on site a lot easier. And we also have a thing called camp hosts, and those camp hosts will actually take you out to your site at many of our properties and really kind of help you get settled in, watch your back as you're backing that, 35-foot rig in for a few months or whatever you're doing. And so we try to make that as successful as possible. And so that's kind of the RV side of the world. And again, that's really if I had to say the core of our business and what we really remain focused on. And it's also something that we really focus on because they are the folks that really make this industry what it is. I try to explain this many times to folks, and it's somewhat hard to explain if you're not in this world. But RVing is not just a lifestyle. It's not just a means of travel. Rather, it is a lifestyle.
Mhm.
It is a culture. It is a passion as much as it is anything else. And so, because of that, you have to address it differently. Hotel rooms and VRBOs and Airbnbs, they're a means to an end. They put you where you want to be, right? If you choose to RV, it's not because it's the simplest or easiest thing to do. It's because you love it, right? And if you love it, you want to be with people that also love it. And so that general sense of community that you have instantaneously, right? So like, again, putting myself in the place of a traveling healthcare professional, I'm a stranger in a strange land. Why not go to a place that I have instant community? People that
Yeah.
I already know, I share this passion, right? I share this thing with that's so special to me. And so for those reasons, I think it's such a why we say remain, aggressively focused on making sure that RV component really is taken care of. But what we've seen a tremendous growth in and continue to expand into is actually the vacation rentals, right? Whether that is a cabin, whether that is a safari tent. We even have custom retro Airstreams that we bought out of Canada, where they take a 1970s Airstream, they gut it, and they rebuild it from scratch into this like super chic, fun destination. It's a great place if you wanted to come, like you and your spouse, or if yourself and your dog, whatever it is. Like these things are so cool, right? I mean, they're one of my favorite accommodations that we have. And we have glamping pods. We have stuff that's more simple, like a more rustic cabin, if you're really kind of committed to that rustic experience. So we really try to run the full gamut. And we're constantly experimenting with new accommodation styles kind of as they come up. We have yurts in the portfolio. Pretty much
Cool.
anything that you want to try, you can find in the Blue Water portfolio, including rental RVs, right? So let's just say that you're not sure that you're ready to commit to this RV life. You want to try it before you buy it. I have a lot of properties where you can actually rent the site and the RV kind of as almost like renting a cabin, right? It's going to be ready to go for you. And so it's a great way to know if you're cut from the RV cloth.
Yeah, same thing with our audience too. Travel nurses, we get a lot of new travel nurses that have never done it before, and just going into the unknown, but having that ability to have housing and to kind of try that on for a short term, like, hey, I
Mhm.
want to maybe try a contract, but there's so many logistics I need. It sounds like through your guys' properties, they could, scratch that itch, try that on for 13 weeks and decide whether they like it or not. And then really they don't have to, they're eased of that worry of where am I going to stay and
Yep.
get to try that on at the same time. So that's really cool. And I think even healthcare professionals with the burnout that they experience, having a glamping weekend, even if they're not a traveler, but just having that glamping weekend, I think would be really cool. I can't wait to show our viewers some of the pictures, flash up some of those pictures of these yurts and these glamping opportunities. That's awesome. So we are actually partnering with you guys to provide a discount for our audience for long-term and short-term. So we definitely will include additional information in the caption and on the screen. Can you tell us, can you give us some of your, and maybe you can't give favorites, but can you tell us some of your potential favorite properties that you have or some really unique things that really stand you guys out? And maybe you can use names, maybe not, but I'm just curious if you have
Sure.
some cool things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We have some really fun and exciting properties that we recently opened. So if anybody's going to Key West,
Okay.
which is one of my favorite places in the world, especially come January, February. You can get
Yes.
me out of Maryland and anywhere in the north. I like to stay warm, try to keep this tan up as much as I can. But we have a property in Sugarloaf Key, which is about 15 minutes outside of Key West. And there
Okay.
we have everything from these really luxury bungalow cabins. We have a few Airstreams of those custom Airstreams that I told you about earlier that are really neat. And then we have RV sites, and they're all centered around this kind of beautiful like lagoon. So almost every site is waterfront or water view.
Wow.
And again, it's a simple and small property. It's not giant amenities because really the amenity is Key West itself, and you're 15 minutes away from Duval Street and the music and the food and everything that that place is famous for. But you have this really beautiful respite escape place to go there. So that one is, a big favorite of mine. I'll be down there in February myself to spend a little time there because it's a great way to reboost and recharge down there. The other ones that if you're in the Houston market, like I mentioned, that Jetstream portfolio is tremendous, and we actually just opened a KOA, the first Houston City Center KOA, a few weeks ago. So it's a KOA, and it's next to the medical center there in Houston, which is a world famous medical center that people travel all over the country and the world to come visit. So I think that's a really relevant one for your folks that might be in that market. But it's also in great proximity to everything you want to do in downtown Houston, whether it's the rodeo or a baseball game or anything like that. So that's a really cool property. I mentioned the Luray property. That's a recent new build, 370 sites on the Luray River with every amenity you can imagine. We actually have a mountain bike track. So, like, if you have kids that
Cool.
love to ride their bikes, like, we actually built an entire dirt mountain bike track that they can go in there and really tear it up and have a great time. And there's actually another really cool kind of like surprise amenity that people love there is we have a remote control car track. So you
Oh,
actually
nice.
sit up in this little pedestal and you look down on the track and you can actually sit there and race your cars. And you'd be surprised the number of adults that actually really enjoy that amenity.
Yeah, that sounds very relaxing, but yet competitive.
Yeah, yeah. And the last one I'll just throw out there is this, and this place I think it's heaven on earth. Honestly, it's called Endless Caverns, and it's a little hidden gem right off Route 81 near JMU, Harrisonburg, Virginia area. Great proximity off the highway, but it actually has one of the largest caverns on the property. And so it's appropriately named Endless Caverns because we don't actually know where the end of the caverns are. So they're still actually surveying and exploring this cavern. You can go in there and take a tour. You're not gonna, it's about a 1 hour tour that's a little bit more controlled, but professional cavers are actually still exploring this cabin. And the whole campground is built onto this beautiful hillside the spaces are gigantic. They're super flat, even, so it's beautiful for RVers. We have amenities like a heated pool and pickleball courts, and all that's really, really cool. And it's everything you need to escape for a weekend or even for a long-term stay, whatever you're looking for. But at the very top, we have this really beautiful endless cavern sign. It's like the Hollywood sign that's built into the side of the mountain, and you can actually hike up there. And from that vantage point, you can actually see West Virginia in the horizon, the mountains of West Virginia. And so, go up there to catch a sunset is a life-changing experience.
Wow, that sounds beautiful. Now, can you tell our viewers and audience where to book with you? If they're interested, can you tell us a little bit more about how to do that? We'd love to hear more.
Yeah, I think the best place, if you really want to understand the full offerings of Blue Water today, is our website. So it's bwdc.com. That's Bravo Whiskey Delta Charlie.com. And so that website, you can take a look at our portfolio. We keep that updated. It'll link you out to every single site. You can search by state, whatever region that you're looking for. And so that's a great launching pad if you want to know if Blue Water has something in the area that you're looking to be or travel, or if you really are just trying to roll the dice and find something new and different and find an adventure.
Well, thank you so much again for your time. I really appreciate it. And yeah, enjoy your Monday.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for have a great one.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye bye.